Hey there, good folks. Dr. Charlie here. Today's topic for Charlie Chats is 3 points of compassion and or empathy. Now, I don't usually use compassion and empathy as complete synonyms, but in this case, these points are good for both. The 3 points are, I'll tell you the 3 points and I will illustrate with an example. So the 3 points are: can you believe the other's truth as theirs? Can you change your perspective, viewpoint, or position? And can you incorporate new information? So let's start with an example. Let's say you've heard of this thing called a quarter, and you've heard of it, but you don't quite know, you've never seen it, you've never witnessed it for yourself, experienced it, we'll call it. So there's 3 people involved in this example. You have one person who is holding the quarter. You have one person who's completely on this side and one person who's completely on the other side. Now, if you ask, let's say person one is looking at the heads part of a quarter. You ask person one what they see, to describe what they see, to describe what they are experiencing, they're going to say one thing. If you ask person two, the person looking at tails of the quarter, if you ask them to describe what they see, they're going to say something completely different. And we're not asking person number 3, the person who's holding the quarter, we're not asking that person yet. So first, each persons 1 and 2 are talking with conviction. They both really believe what it is that they are saying. When I say describe a quarter, it has an eagle on it. It has a face on it. And those, you could be describing the same thing, and yet they're so different. So the first question to ask is, do I believe this other person? Now, I can put aside for a second the fact that we appear to be describing the same thing, and yet we're describing it so differently. So I'm going to put my truth, I'm going to put that to the side for a moment. And do I believe the other person believes their truth? So that's the first question. The second question: could I go to the other side? If I'm person 1, can I move to where person 2 is, or at least close to where person 2 is, and then understand that from their perspective, if I've moved my location in relation to a thing, from their perspective, what they were telling me was indeed true. Can you change your perspective, your viewpoint, or your position? The third thing is, can you incorporate new information? So here's where person 3, who's holding the quarter, here's where they come in. If they know what's on both sides of this quarter, and they said, hey, in fact, you're both describing the same thing, but you're describing side A of it, and you're describing you're describing side B of it, but they're both really the same. And then maybe flip the quarter around so that you could see, oh, in fact, we are both talking about the same thing. So that's, can you incorporate new information? I would say that with a quarter, many people would say, if they've never experienced a quarter, once they saw the heads and tails side of the quarter, they would probably be able to say, oh yes, we were describing the same thing. We were just describing 2 sides of the same coin, as it were, as the cliche goes. So those are 3 points of compassion and empathy. Do we believe the other person, that maybe they're not telling my truth, but maybe they are telling their own truth? Can I change my perspective? Can I try to see it from the other's perspective? And of course, with a quarter, that's a very literal example. Go over to the other side of that and know that 2 people, so you can be standing next to one another, but even next to one another, you might see just about the same thing, but the angle is still going to be slightly different, because you're not right here. You're not both standing in the precise same spot. You're standing very near enough so that you can understand the complete picture. You can understand the other person's truth. And the third one, incorporating that new information. Can you say, in fact, yes, I was right, and yes, you were also right, because now we know that this quarter this thing that we had never experienced before, it does in fact have two sides. So those are the 3 points of empathy and compassion that I am suggesting to you. Brene Brown does a whole lot of work on empathy and compassion, and I strongly recommend her to you. All right, good folks, you take great care. I hope to connect again with you soon. Bye now.